everyone. My name is Nikki. I am here with Pam today. We are going to do a Chaturanga breakdown. So Chaturanga, Sanskrit, almost for like a yogi push-up, kind of like a tricep push-up. So don't let the word intimidate you. We're going to say it quite a bit today, and we're going to rock and roll with it. You might have already seen the tight shoulders video that we did. Again, kind of working hand in hand with just kind of breaking it down, getting into those shoulders a bit, and seeing how you feel. So we're going to start in a tabletop position. You're going to need 2 blocks today. If you don't have them, go ahead and grab them real quick, and we'll get started. So a little bit of organic movement in tabletop position. If you want to work into cat-cow, if you want to start to kind of barrel roll the chest a little bit, just kind of what feels good to you at the beginning here, some organic goodness. We're going to work a lot of the Chaturanga breakdown at the beginning from the tabletop position, so just get familiar with stacking shoulders over wrists, stacking knees right underneath those hips. Good. Just take another breath or two here, maybe even closing the eyes, letting the visual distractions just melt away for another moment. Okay. And then coming back to neutral spine. So we're going to work a couple different things. When we go into the Chaturanga push-up, we're going to start from our knees, and then we'll show you the full version, and then you can decide which one works the best for you. So unlike tabletop position, we're going to take those knees back about 3 or 4 inches so that they don't stack over the hips. Otherwise, it gets kind of a little short. So we're going to kind of lengthen it out. The first thing I want you to think about is your belly button pulling in towards your spine. So you want to keep your belly engaged as we work through this. Otherwise, the low back is put in a very precarious situation. So we're going to keep the low belly pulled in. The other thing I want you to think about is looking out maybe past the top of your mat. So you don't want to look up, right? We don't want to crank the neck, but we also don't want to look down. The head is really heavy, and it'll take your Chaturanga down. We want to take it and lengthen it out, okay? So belly pulls in. Your hands are spread wide, finger pads are pressing down, and then I want you to think about smiling across the collarbones. But be careful now, because when you do that, it lets your belly button drop, so keep the belly drawing in. So stay for a breath in. I just want you to shift a little bit of weight forward, and then exhale, a little bend in the elbows for Chaturanga. Push straight back up. Good. So a couple more times. Belly in, broaden across the collarbones. Take a peek out. Exhale, just a little bend. We're not going all the way down, just a little bend. Beautiful. Push straight back up. One more time. Belly in, smiling across the clavicles. Gaze out. Exhale. Chaturanga. Pushing back up. And just sitting back on those heels for a moment. So what we're going to do now, we're going to take this little variation with the blocks. It's one of my favorites. What we're trying to avoid in Chaturanga is our shoulders dipping too far forward. So this is going to be a fun little one. So I want you to put your hands back up here, Pam, so that your middle finger is going straight into the middle of that block. So we have to remember the knees are back a little bit, right? The belly pulls in. The clavicles are smiling. Now what you want to remember is you're going to want to shift the weight forward, right? So coming down, bend the elbows, maybe tap those blocks. Beautiful. Push straight back up and back. Give it just a moment. So what you want to make sure is that you're coming forward, because you're trying to find 90 degrees in the elbow. If we come just from the tabletop position and bend down, it gets a little crowded, right? The front shoulder doesn't have enough space. So the shoulders draw down the back. We're going to try it again. So place the hands. And you don't have to come all the way to the blocks. If your shoulders are fairly tight, you're probably going to be hovering a little bit. I'll have Pam show that variation. So don't feel like you have to touch the blocks. Eventually in full Chaturanga you will, but today we'll show you a couple different variations, okay? So the body is set, the belly is pulling in, the clavicles are smiling. Take an inhale, shift the weight forward. Exhale, bend the elbows. Almost there, beautiful. Come back up and send it back. So this time, I'm going to move it up a little bit. We're going to show full Chaturanga. Now, I can imagine, Pam, I don't know about you, but it took me quite a few months to build the shoulder strength that was necessary to hold a full Chaturanga. So Pam's been practicing for a while. She's familiar with full Chaturanga, so we'll show it to you. But I just want you to make sure that Chaturanga on your knees is absolutely fine if that's where you're still at in your practice, okay? So we're going to come into plank pose with the hands in the same position, middle finger going straight to the middle of that block. All right, so in plank, belly is drawing in, gaze is out, smiling the clavicles. Inhale, shift the weight forward. Exhale, bend the elbows. Come back up to plank and exhale, knees down. Whew. Whoo, how did that feel, okay? Right? So it's the reminder that you want to tap. That's where the elbows find 90 degrees. Push up and away. Okay, can we try it again? One more time, full plank pose. So in plank, if you're familiar, shoulders are stacked, belly is drawing in, legs are strong. So keep the belly, keep the clavicles. Inhale, shift the weight forward. Exhale, chaturanga. Whoo, inhale, plank. Nice, Pam. Knees down. Give it a rest. Okay. So at the beginning, chaturanga can seem like a lot. So what we're going to do is my favorite. It's called a chaturanga hammock. So I'm going to take these blocks. I'm going to pull them back about 12 inches. I'm going to dip them down to the level below, and I'm going to pull them in about 2 inches, okay? And you're going to have to adjust as you go here. Once you find the sweet spot, you'll know it, okay? So Pam, we're going to work into plank with your hands back at the top of your mat. Okay. So what it looks like is an inhale, shift the weight forward. Exhale, chaturanga, pause. Isn't that beautiful? So you're getting caught here. It's a magic moment. So much that you can roll your shoulders back. You can take the gaze. You can even float the feet if you want to here, right? Pull the belly in. So all of the elements are the same. You're just kind of floating in space. It's nice. Good. And when you're ready, curl those toes back into plank pose. Good. And then drop your knees. Whew. Does that feel okay? Yeah? So you really, right, the path of least resistance in chaturanga is just to start to dip the shoulders straight away. So if anything, chest up, shoulders back, you can find all that while catching right at your thigh bones in that little hammock, okay? So we're going to try it one more time just because it feels good. So you're going to come into plank pose. This is, again, super beneficial if you're just starting chaturanga because you don't have to hold your body weight at the bottom, right? Inhale, shift the weight forward. Exhale, chaturanga. So work your belly. Work smiling across the clavicles. Work neck long. Even float those feet. You don't even need them. It's a magic moment. Take a breath. Curl those toes under. Exhale, plank pose. Knees down. Child's pose to rest. Nice work. So give it a moment, sending those hips towards the ground, sending the hips towards the heels. Give your shoulders a moment. Good. And coming back up to tabletop, we're just going to stretch the shoulders out at the end of that chaturanga for you, okay? So I want you to inhale your right arm up and out to the side. We're just going to thread the needle and exhale, pull it through. So the right side of your face comes down, just breathing into the outer right shoulder. Give your shoulders a little love after that chaturanga. Now you can stay here with that left hand, or you can work towards a half bind if you want to open up the shoulder a little bit more if that feels good to find that thigh. So just pausing, weight is heavy on that shoulder. Just give it a moment. Take a breath in. And exhale, slowly start to unbind that left hand. Push yourself up. Find tabletop position. Maybe sway those hips a little bit. Roll it out. All right, one more side. Back to neutral spine. Inhale that left arm up. And exhale, thread the needle. Finding weight on the outer left shoulder. Left side of the face comes to the mat. Right, if this feels comfortable, you can keep your hand here. No worries at all. If it feels okay, that right hand's going to come all the way around to either find the small of the back, or she's going to find the top of the thigh. Right, so you get outer shoulder on the left side here. You get inner shoulder on the right side. Take another breath in. And slowly unbind that right hand. Push yourself up to tabletop. Give it a little movement. And then settle back on those heels. So thank you, Pam. Thank you for watching. Rewind, stop, do it again. Chaturanga is a patient process. So we will see you next time. Namaste.